I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. Well, the shop's gotten into a bit of a mess because I started sorting things. It's a fallback for me whenever I get into a situation where I can't find something. I start cleaning, sorting, putting things away, and I invariably stumble across the thing I was looking for. Nail set. I used it to set the quarter round on the trim for the front porch, and I knew I had like a dozen of these and I couldn't find them. They were in a box downstairs. Now the box didn't come out here because I already have enough stuff out here. I need to organize where this all goes before I bring any more out. You've probably all seen that in your own shops. Every time you get something new, it kind of shoves everything around, and then what that does is destroys the organization of the shop and makes it so that your mental image of the shop moves. In my case, when my mental image of the shop moves, I can't find anything. And this has been a huge upheaval. Coming up from the basement where I knew everything, I mean, it was like 4 steps. It was the ideal kitchen arrangement. Everything was no more than 7 steps away. I had the lathe, the metal lathe and the wood lathe and the grinder and the hand drill press downstairs. I didn't have the big drill press downstairs, but I had the hand drill press downstairs. And I could do the basic functions of the shop, bench vise, bench, hand tools, everything was all within reach. Here, it's gonna get there. It's not there yet. I'm actually making 2 shops. The side where you're standing is the wood shop by the door, because that's the place that people can walk in and not be hit by sparks or grinding sparks or anything coming at them like that. And I want to make it so that if somebody walks in, they don't get freaked out. So this side over here is going to be the mechanical shop, and the welding shop is going to be up towards the front where those racks are. Right now, this corner was set up as a temporary situation. I needed a place to put things. I wanted to bring things up from the basement and organize them as I did it. And I tried to make it so that I had certain things on certain shelves, and I was trying to organize as I went. Well, then I got the organization just about to the point where I could start doing something. When I started doing something, I had to disorganize everything because it was all in that corner, too far away to get to. And I wanted to bring out this big radial arm saw because that's going to be the center point of the woodworking shop. That's the big saw. That's something I can cut pretty much anything I want to cut with it. It'll go through a 3.5-inch board in one pass. So I wanted to have that out here. It's been sitting now for 15 years without being turned on. Not once. Not been wired up. But before I did that, I needed to get a few things organized so that I had heat in the shop. So you saw the whole situation where I went through and I built the heating unit for the shop. I've got this wood stove, wood furnace, basically a furnace. It's a second furnace for heating a house. And that's why it's got the big ductwork on top. That was supposed to go up into the main plenum and feed air to the whole house, which probably did. It does a real good job heating the workshop, and the workshop is, well, let's say it's not set up for heat. It doesn't have any insulation, and it radiates cold off the walls. But when you get the fire going and you get the fan blowing, it really does warm up in here. It gets up to the point where I can work like this in the middle of the winter. Only towards the last part of the winter that I found that out, though, because up until then I didn't have it really working well. Had to spend a lot of time welding on it. So now I'm going to take this nail set and I'm going to put it up here with the chisels. Now that's not where it goes. No, it's not where it goes. That's a nail set. Those are all metal cutting chisels. But they are chisels and they're hammer struck items. It's going to give me at least a semblance of having a place where it goes. Because I have other hammer struck items over here on the shelf, and hopefully that's going to make it so that things kind of go together. Now, this corner has turned into the electrical work shelf. I've got most of my electrical stuff back there or over there on that shelf behind you. Why was that? Well, it's because I only had power in the one corner. I didn't run wire to the whole building because I was too busy doing other things, trying to get the furnace working, trying to get everything going, and I ended up running electrical cords everywhere. I hate extension cords. Nah, hate's too strong over it. I use extension cords for temporary use, but these became fixtures, and that's just not a functional way to run a shop. You can't have cords strung across the floor that you're constantly catching your feet on or having to run something over the top of or unplug them and plug them back in again. It's just a terrible way to run a shop. So, having said all that, I wanted to come out and spend a little time cleaning and straightening. So, I'm going to do that now for an hour or so and see if I can't get some things organized into a certain way of doing things. Hopefully that's going to get me to the point where next time I come out here, I got a little better handle on what I'm going to be doing with the stuff that I'm looking for. I won't be hunting for everything so much. Now, I have my wife in the house sleeping, and I do not want to wake her up. So I'm not going to be running any equipment, heavy or otherwise, out here in the shop. Other than perhaps a fan or something like that. I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow. It's been a rare day, but we've reached the end of physical therapies for both I and Lydia. She's only going twice a week, and I'm going once a week. And next week, Thursday, it's the last one. I don't have one this Thursday. All I'm doing is going back. They're going to check and make sure that I'm progressing with the treatments. And the swelling in my legs has gone down. I'm very happy. That was been a problem for me now for about 10 years. And I'll go into that a little bit. I had something called lymphedema. Now, lymph is a secondary circulation system in your body. It is a group of passages through your body with glands that hold and function as, I don't know exactly what to call them, someplace where the lymph gathers. You've all probably had a swollen lymph node in your neck when you had a sore throat. Sometimes you get a swollen lymph gland under your arm and at your groin. Those are places where the lymph tends to slow down a little bit. And what I was running into, the lymph in my legs was building up proteins, and the proteins became viscous, so that it made the lymph not want to move in the normal flow from my legs up to my heart. So the only thing that moves the lymph in your body is muscles. They squeeze the passages and push the lymph around. And in my case, since they weren't being squeezed enough, because I was sitting down too much, retired, I didn't do a whole lot. I sat around and read a book some days. Didn't bother me when I was 18. Didn't bother me when I was 25. By the time I got to 40, I noticed it. I had a job that I was sitting on my butt in an office for most of the time, that or else in a meeting. And that meant that I was having problems with my legs. Not anywhere near like the problems that I got after I retired, but still, I noticed it. So, The treatment that I got is I went and had a massage on my legs to break up that viscous lymph so that it flowed through the passages easier. And it was like going to a massage, and I got my legs massaged. That's all that I got massaged was my legs. Now I have to do certain exercises, like every morning when I get up, I have to wipe across the places where the lymph is gathered, like in my neck, and I go through 10 times, and I don't push really hard, I just push the skin enough to feel the pressure on my skin. I'm not trying to move the muscles, I'm not doing deep tissue massage, I'm just moving the lymph through my body. And I'm trying to bring it back to my body, around my heart. So I do these 10 times. I wipe my arm this way 10 times, this arm 10 times, top 10 times. Then I do under my arms 10 times, and I do up my stomach 10 times, and I massage my legs. Each stroke that I repeat, I do 10 times. So it's about a 15-20 minute process. Then I have a set of sleeves, well, leggings, I call them, that slide up over my leg, and they're connected to a pump. Each legging has 8 different chambers in it. And what it does is it inflates a chamber or cuff around my foot and squeezes on my foot. Not tremendously, it's not like it's painful. I just, it's like somebody grabbing a hold of your foot. It was just holding their hands on it. It's just, and it squeezes my foot, then it goes up and moves. The next one is my ankle, and then on up my calf, then on up around my knee, and then on up into my thigh. And that's the whole point of the thing, is to move that lymph, just kind of squeeze it up out of my foot and out of my leg, because you're not as likely to have a problem with lymphedema in your hands. If your hand is injured, yeah, you can develop lymphedema in your hand. Anything that causes that circulatory system to block can basically trap fluid in your arm or leg or neck or body, but mostly in the legs, because the legs are the lowest thing. They have the hardest time pumping things up, and if you just stand, you're not pumping. It's only when the muscles are moving. If you're walking, you're pumping, because your calf muscles are squeezing, and they're squeezing those passages, and it forces the lymph up out of your leg, up into your body. So that's what that sleeve does. The 8 chambers work in cycles, and I have 2 leggings. You can get it with just one legging and switch it back and forth between one leg and the other, but since I have a lot of things that I want to get done, and I don't want to spend all my days sitting in a chair while it has to be a recliner, because your feet have to be up and you have to be sitting up. You can't be laying down. Laying down doesn't work. So I sit in my recliner with the 2 leggings on, and this little machine for a half an hour pumps the lymph through my legs and up into my body. Then I go through and do my exercises. I do them in the morning and in the evening before I go to bed. So that's the whole thing there. That's what I was doing with that. Well, I've graduated. I've got to the point where my legs are down tremendously, like an inch in diameter, just because I'm not holding the lymph. And the reason I was concerned about that is when you have lymphedema and your leg swells up, it stretches the skin. And it can actually, in my case, split the skin. It didn't take it clear down to the meat and break it open, but it cut the top layer, because the top layer of your skin is basically dead. And even though I can grab a hold of my arm and pull skin up, if I inflate my arm and then try and pull the skin, I can't do that. And what was happening was my legs were inflated, and if I bent my knees or bent my foot, it put more pressure on that spot and caused the skin to expand. And since it couldn't expand anymore, the outer dead layer would split, and I would have a wound. A wound in your leg when you got lymphedema is bad. you may recall, some of you, new viewers probably won't know about it, but about 4 months ago, I was in the kitchen and fell down, just making spaghetti. Next thing I know, I'm laying on the floor with a pile of spaghetti around me. I was going to break it and put it in the pan, and I just went down. Fortunately, I didn't knock the pan of hot water or the pan of spaghetti sauce off the stove onto me. I just hit the floor. When I woke up, I went to get up, and I couldn't maneuver, couldn't manage it. I ended up having to crawl out into the dining room and then work my way up one of the dining room chairs to get up. Scary. We called 911. I went to the hospital. Last time I had that, it was because I had sepsis. And sepsis is when you have an infection in your body that gets into your bloodstream. When my legs were swelled up and I was having problems with healing my legs up, I got, about 2 years ago, I got sepsis. And pretty much the same thing. I went to go to bed, walked into the bedroom, went to raise my leg up to get onto the bed, fell on the floor, passed out. I got up, I couldn't get up onto the bed. I was calling my wife, but she couldn't hear me because it was just really, really quiet. Now normally, if I yell, it's enough to rattle the building. But I thought I was yelling. I wasn't. Just very, Lydia, Lydia. That is scary when your husband falls on the floor, can't talk, can't move. And you call the ambulance and they come get him and take him away and you don't know why. So, that happened. I thought I had the problem cured. They couldn't pin down exactly what the issue was at the time. Well, this time when I fell 4 months ago, it was, okay, I've got sepsis again. This felt exactly like I felt the first time. So I went into the hospital, I said, I've had sepsis, it felt like this. They started checking, I didn't have to wait a day for them to make a decision. They said, yes, you have an infection, you have a blood infection. Took blood draws and did cultures and knew. So then we tried to figure out what it was. I said, I think it's my legs, because my legs have sores on them. Yes, because my legs didn't get much blood circulation. The blood puts the healing stuff in your legs and brings out the bad stuff, runs it through your kidneys and expels it. I wasn't getting a lot of flow through the lymph glands. Now my blood vessels were still working, and I was trying to, in my own way, I thought I was working, I thought I was doing things, because I was going around into the shop, But what have I been doing now for the past 10 minutes? I've been standing here in front of you. Haven't been doing much with as far as walking. So that's what was going on. I blocked everything into my legs and I developed the infection. It went into my bloodstream, and the poison, which sepsis is poison, knocked me out. So my doctor, Dr. Mindock, yeah, it's a funny name, I know, but he's a great guy. He says, okay, the thing we're going to do is we're going to send you over to vascular and have them check you out and see what's going on. And so that's what we did. Dr. Mindock sent me to vascular. Vascular looked at my legs and said, oh, we need to have you get treatment for lymphedema, swelling from your lymph system. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing that now for, like I say, for about month and a half, and feeling much better. And I'm happy to say that I think I've got a solution to my problem, and I don't think I'm going to have as much trouble as I did before. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.